Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Restaurant News Networking Group. My name is Howard Appel. I'm the founder and publisher of today's Restaurant News, and we are a group of vendors who are here to help each other grow our businesses and to help any restaurant owner, manager, or chef who might have an issue or a problem that they're dealing with that they need help with. I invite you to give us a call at 561 620 8888 or go to our website at trnusa.com and also check out our YouTube channel, which is accessible through our website at trnusa.com. And happy early Cinco de Mayo. Our office is decorated with the lights. We're ready to go. And
I was wondering I was like, it's not a holiday, but I thought that's nice.
it's Cinco de Mayo.
Very.
Where's your sombrero?
Oh, no sombreros.
We don't need no stinking hat.
We don't need no.
Okay. Let's get the show on the road. Today we have a presentation, long-awaited presentation by Chris Kauffman. And Chris, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And Brian chickened out. He doesn't want to follow your presentation.
That's fine. We hope Brian's still on the road.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Chris Kauffman, recruiting all-stars, restaurant all-stars, that is. 404 all-star. That's our telephone number, and it works 24/7. Working on behalf of restaurant companies to enhance the management team that they might have or that they would like to have. And we work on behalf of the client companies. Started recruiting aces for great places back on Monday, April 6th, 1981, after running restaurants and a little bit in the hotel business with Hyatt back in the 70s. So I had somewhat of an understanding of the restaurant business, but I learned a PhD's worth of information in the recruiting business. I got started, I interviewed with a guy who was recruiting me to his recruiting company. And he made a great statement to me in the recruiting process. He said, look, if you come to work here at this recruiting firm and you don't like the recruiting business, you couldn't be in a better place to find a job. And I thought, that's rather wise. So he was a wonderful man. Joe Siegel was his name. Joe Siegel was the guru of recruiting in the hotel industry in the Eastern United States. And Joe had no experience in hotels. He got in the recruiting business in 1969. I went to work for him in 1981, but he specialized in hotels. And at that time, he taught me the business, not only of the recruiting business, but of the preference that he had that I adopted, which is to be a specialist. And when you specialize, you can move faster, you can tap into your database quicker and more effectively. You know a lot more, you can go a lot faster. Some people prefer to be a generalist, which means tomorrow they'll find you a director of accounting, and next week they'll find you a director of real estate, and it's a generalist. Whereas as a specialist specializing in the restaurant industry, and the restaurant industry has continued to grow unabated for years and years, and looks to be no end in sight. Now, there's been some consolidations and some wave goodbye type of deals, but by and large, it's a wonderful industry. Where the recruiting industry has changed is that when I got into the business, a short but illustrious 44 years ago, I would say 80% of the recruiting fees were paid by the candidates. Joe Siegel told me we will never take money from candidates. We are a business-to-business type of business. And now it's totally flipped, where 95% of the recruiting fees are paid by companies as opposed to the candidates, which is the way it should be, and the way that Joe Siegel and I have always operated. After working with Joe for 2 years, I started with him in Charlotte, moved to Washington, D.C., and then I moved back to Atlanta, my hometown, in 1983 to establish my own recruiting firm. Continued to co-broker assignments with Joe till he passed away in 2000, and then I bought his company from the family. So I have a little bit of a foothold over there in the hotel world, and it was a wonderful transition. It was a win-win situation. But we work on behalf of the client companies. What that means is that we listen to what the client companies are looking for and get an idea of who they are and what they're all about. Now, way back in the 1960s, one of the great business books of all time is called Up the Organization by Robert Townsend. It was his claim to fame as a business person is that he took Avis Rent-A-Car from zero to number 2 on the business listing of success. And he talks about headhunters. And he says, if you use a headhunter, go to the trouble of writing out your description of just the person you need in your own words, not some job description boilerplate. When he sends in a person for an interview, follow back up. Communicate. And that's the key. That's the key to having a successful recruiting assignment. That's the key to having a successful business arrangement. Now, how much do the fees cost? The answer is, it depends. It depends because it's a very inexact science, if you will, and it's a very situation where we're not regulated by any national board of directors or whatever. So traditionally, in our company, we've worked fees as high as 35% of the first year's salary, as low as 10% of the first year's salary. So it depends on the position, depends on the responsibilities, and depends on what the company. Some companies just have a flat budget. I mean, when I worked with one company, they said, if you want to work with us, we pay 22% of the first year's salary, period, paragraph. And then you have a decision to make. My longest placement ever made that I've been able to track is a gentleman that I placed 40 years ago, 1985. I talked to him yesterday to get validation on this. His name is Kevin Truesdale. He's the director of recruiting and development for Freshens Yogurt. And he went to work when there was one Freshens in 1985. That is now a multiple concept type of company. And Kevin is still with that company. So I think they made their money on that fee. I really do. Call me crazy. And now, recruiting fees are not refundable. And the reason for that is that we can only control so much. I can control who I present to you, what I believe the person is a good fit, and also what we have found out about the background. I cannot control if you're going to work this person 7 days a week. I cannot control if you're going to cancel the person's bonus program. I cannot control if you move them to a different division from what you originally hired this guy for or this girl. So it's the same thing like when Steve Whitehill sells a business and a guy buys a pizza parlor because Steve introduced the guy to the pizza parlor opportunity. But then a month later, the guy runs out of the pizza parlor saying, I'm getting out of the pizza business. I hate it. This is terrible. And he runs off to New Mexico. All right. Now, does Steve have to refund his commission? No, I didn't think so. And the same thing there. So, but we can also be mentors for the client company as well as the candidate in the process, because I realize when a person is their business is running their business, they've got a lot of other irons in the fire, and I can help them in the process. I can also help candidates. How not to interview for a job was in full bloom last week by Shadur Sanders, who went to an interview to be a quarterback for one of these NFL teams. And what was told to me, and well, everybody else who listened to the show, by Adam Shine of Sirius XM, when Shadur went for the interview, he had on headphones, and you could hear the music coming out of the headphones. and he's interviewing for a quarterback position with one of the NFL teams. Not a good look. And therefore, he fell to the 5th round. Allegedly, he was going to be drafted in the 1st round. But how not to interview. Another rule of thumb, how not to interview, wear sunglasses. Yeah, it's okay to wear sunglasses when you walk into the room. But when you sit down face to face, please take the sunglasses off. Sounds basic, but I had to advise a 6-figure executive on that same situation. So the number one responsibility of ownership or a board of directors or a president, CEO, their number one responsibility is to make sure that they have good management in place throughout the organization. That's why there is such an industry as the recruiting industry. And working as a specialist, that's what we like to focus on. The opportunity to ask questions is available at any time in this presentation. Feel free to raise your hand, and I'll be glad to answer any question you might have. And so last, my secret sauce, if you will, is my ability overwhelmingly to predict who will be a quality player for an organization. Nobody's perfect, okay? And as a matter of fact, I read a quote one time, you can give all the personality profile test in the world, but you got to remember that even Christ picked Judas. So it happens. And but we are all about increasing your odds for success. And that's what we bring to the table. A short but illustrious 44 years of placing aces in great places. Restaurant All-Stars, 404 All-Star, 404-255-7827. And now the floor is open for discussion, comments, concerns.
Chris, I have to ask a question. You mentioned about how you present yourself in an interview, take your sunglasses off. When I was growing up, my dad first told me, your first job was at Kroger Supermarkets in Atlanta, Georgia. And he made sure that I dressed in slacks and a nice shirt. I said, it's a grocery store. He goes, dress to impress. Because that's the first thing they're going to look at is how does he present himself walking into an interview.
That's excellent advice. When I went to my interview with Red Lobster, on the way down there, I stopped at Ringling Brothers because they were in Atlanta at that time, and they were interviewing for a cook for the circus train. So I thought I'd go down there before my 2:00 interview with Red Lobster. And I'll never forget Mr. Schmitz. He says, why did you come here so dressed up? I said, well, I just wanted to let you know I'm really serious about the opportunity. He said, it's a cook's job. So,
but it's funny. It's the first thing he noticed about you is how you were dressed.
That's right. So, and then when I interviewed for the Red Lobster job, the guy I interviewed with had just been promoted to regional director. And he said, well, I guess you're about as nervous about this interview as I am because I've just been promoted to this position. And I held my tongue back, but I was so tempted to say, sir, I don't have a job. If you turn me down, hey, I'm no worse off than when I walked in this place. But I didn't. And then he offered me this is 1974. He offered me a cigarette to calm myself down. It was a cigarette. And puts the pack of cigarette. I said, yes, I know. And I thought, no.
I love you in the morning.
Right. Love you a long time. So, yeah, it was.
Sorry, Terry.
Interviewing, but but being specializing in the business, it happens almost every month now. I'll get somebody's resume and I'll go, wait a minute, we got this guy's resume before. And I'll go to our database, and sure enough, there's the background that's been changed because 2 years ago, this person was a manager trainee for TGI Fridays. Now, today, miraculously, he's an area director of operations. Really? Wow. What a meteoric rise. So you call him up and say, Hey, listen, I got your resume. Oh, great. Got some area director of operations positions. Well, I need to ask you which resume should I use? What do you mean? I said, well, I got this one that says you were a manager trainee 2 years ago. Now I got this other one that says you're basically area director of operations the last 5 years. So what's fact, what's fiction? And he says what they all say when they're caught, which is, I'll, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Okay. And guess what? You never hear from them again. So, yeah.
Well, Chris, I'm looking for an executive chef job. I made bacon and chicken yesterday, so if you can get me that, that'd be great.
You're looking for an executive chef job?
Yeah, because I can make bacon and chicken in the air fryer.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Chris. It's
Morning,
Mel
Melvin.
here from the Concord Grape Pie Company, a startup operation. We've been going now for about 4 or 5 months, and a great beginning. Thanks to Howard and Terry. And what my question is, first of all, I'm just noticing the background you've got behind you. I don't know if that's for real or not, but I'm envious of the sand, the water, the palm tree, the blue sky. Where are you exactly now?
On the
Located.
beach in Vandalia. He's on the beach in Vandalia, Georgia.
Yeah,
Is
Vidalia,
that where you are?
Georgia.
Is
Yes.
that a real background behind you, or?
It was at one time.
Oh, okay.
Somebody
Hey,
somebody filmed it.
Uh, hey, the reason why I asked that where you're located, I don't know if you get an opportunity to come down this way. I'm in Deerfield, is where I live, Florida, East Coast. Uh, but the next time you're coming in this direction, I'd love to spend some time with you as we continue to grow. I believe we'll be looking for kind of, if you will, entry level people, good quality people. For instance, we opened the business up going to green markets, and we've now been part of. It's amazing the progress we've made, and going to the green markets in our area down here, and on. As an example, on a Sunday, last Sunday, we were at the Parkland Green Market, and then Boca's got a Sunday green market in 2 locations now. And my son and I are very skilled, of course, and we man to get started. It was important to be in these green markets so we could see the reaction of people to our products, and we've adjusted them and have just a beautiful selection of pies and we, of course, are so aggressive in that booth. We just don't sit there and wait for somebody to come by. We actually, wave them in, or we chat with them and get them to come in. And so we're going to be looking in order to be in more than, 2 markets, or Andrew probably will have to step away from that operation and really deal with the growth of the bakery operation. So we're going to need people to man those booths. We're going to need bakers, and we're going to need delivery, hand and deliveries that for the moment we're tackling by ourselves as we expand the business. Because the next phase is because we've got this great opportunity. We've joined the American Culinary Federation. I don't know of chefs. It's a national organization, and they've got chapters here in Florida in at least a half a dozen, if not more, areas. So we're now a vendor, a member of the ACF in Palm Beach County, and we'll
Well,
be going.
let me give you some help here.
Yeah.
Our focus is primarily positions at 100 and above. Okay. And we're working a couple positions now in the 80 to 90 range. And there are firms that be probably a lot better help to you than I can for the type of positions you're talking about. And people love to be with something that's growing, and you've got something that's growing, and that's exciting, So, Steve Whitehead, comment?
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that information.
Yeah,
But next time you're down here, I wouldn't mind you stopping
okay,
by and we'll chat.
sure,
All right. I thank you.
you
If
bet.
Chris comes to Florida, it'll be a huge party with everybody who's local.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
Chris pays for it all because he's the man.
Go good. Yeah, yeah, no problem.
But he says BYOB, bring your own beer.
Yeah, I just thought
BYOCC, bring your own credit card.
I thought I just mentioned to Howard and Terry and the rest. Our next phase is we have a big event coming up Monday. We'll be located at the Bush Brothers Provision Company. They're also a vendor, a member of the ACF here in Palm Beach, and they'll be pulling together about 60 to 80 of the chefs in Palm Beach County will attend that, and we'll have a booth there that will be exhibiting our product to all these chefs that are chefs at restaurants, country clubs, what have you. We'll be giving them a little package to take home of our cutie little mini pies. They'll see all of the product that we have.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to meeting with them. And really, that's the next expansion of the business. We'll be going in that direction. So I
Excellent.
just thought I'd mention that.
ACF is a good organization. Of course, it depends chapter by chapter, but we joined the ACF in Atlanta many years ago, and have had a good relationship with those folks. They're good people. Any
Yeah,
other
we're really
questions
excited
for this
about it.
presentation?
Mel's company is the second company to join the networking group over the past couple of years. The other company is in the 11 o'clock group, and they started out from zero, and they are doing very well now. They do at least they do ice cream events, and they do 100 like 275 events a year. So Mel is the number two company to start from ground zero and take advantage of the members in our groups. And it's a perfect example of what I always say at the beginning of the meetings. If any restaurant owner has any problems or questions, this is a great place to bring it because we have so many years of experience, and it's not only the people on the board that you're talking to the people that we know, and the depth of help that's available to you. So, Mel, you're on your way, and we're with you.
Yeah, thank you, Howard. I thought I'd just mention to the group anyway, if I could be of any help in another area to anybody. We for 40 years we're grower, packers, and shippers of the Concord grape for the produce markets. And we sold to all the major chains across America and Canada. We went to Brazil as well, Rio Grande do Sul, and brought in some Concord grapes by ship to America in the off season, where no Concords are grown here in America. Bill Clinton also had me come into Arkansas to help build the table grape business there. And so we got to know Bill and Hillary pretty well, and that was successful. So, and I would consider myself, of course, expert in the whole area of sales, to the produce division of every supermarket, as well as not only sales, but the distribution of loading multiple drop tractor trailers, leaving every day from our warehouses, 5, 6 tractor trailers going different parts of America and making 10, 11, 12 drops. Some cases we were lucky. A chain was going on a special, and they take a whole straight load. So we know
Howard?
all about loading trucks, floor loading, palletization, everything you might want to know in that area, and following that truck down the road and helping him to get into the various warehouses to
One of
keep
those
on
trucks that
schedule.
hit under Chris's tree.
Yeah, Howard, I want to thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation. Thank you all for your questions. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. Howard publishes a list of contacts every day for every one of our meetings. And I thank you all for the opportunity to talk about recruiting aces for great places. 404 All-Star Restaurant Talent. Y'all, let's have the rest of a great meeting, okay? Time is tight.
Great presentation, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Chris, I'm late. Can you start over again? I apologize, guys and ladies. But it's
All right.
recorded. It's recorded, so I'll have the opportunity to see it.
That's what a group.
You know, Howard, I have a question, and that is, how do you decide where a new member goes, whether into the 9 o'clock presentation or the 11?
How do I decide?
Yeah.
I don't. Usually I talk to the potential member and find out what's most convenient for them, and secondarily, whether there is a conflict with another company and actually where they're located. But if somebody wanted to join the group and they're from Atlanta, I would certainly suggest the 9 o'clock group, because the group seems to be northern Florida north. But
Okay, thank you.
we're expanding. We're trying to expand this group, and it's hard, but we're doing it. But anyway, let's do our intros, and let's start us off with Rick. Good morning.
Morning, everybody. Rick Israel with Lifeline Insurance Consultants here in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm glad to be here this morning. I believe I was here last week, but there's a lot that's been going on since then. I do have to boast just a little bit. I try to be as humble as I can in my industry, but our agency was awarded last week #2 in the North Alabama area for total sales with Cigna, Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans. So we proudly have a plaque now in our office. So that's a big deal for us. So we're really happy about that. But we are a independent consulting company. We help individuals guide through the Medicare space and the ACA health space. So if anybody is in need of that, Howard, I did want to ask you, I did send you an email. I didn't know if you got it or not, but I have the month of May is Disability Insurance Awareness Month. And we have a lot of business owners here, and I've created a presentation that I'd like to share next week. So I didn't know if you had anybody on the docket for next week to bring that presentation. And it was asked by Brian that I do it on a week that he is going to be here, and he was not going to be here this week. So I knew you already had Chris. So if you have next week open, I'd like to bring that presentation about the importance of disability insurance for business owners. But
You're done. You're scheduled.
Okay. Is that something I could do at the 9 and 11?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I have anybody scheduled.
Okay. But once again, we can be reached at 256-746-9581. We also do group benefits. So if you have a business that you have between, let's say, 10 to 50 employees that you're looking for voluntary benefits for, we can help you set that up as well. Give me a call if you need our help. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Let's go to Ed. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Chris, I appreciated the presentation. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm surprised the coconut didn't fall in your head when you're doing that, though.
That happened
You're lucky.
before my presentation. That's why I stuttered sometimes. And you thought I'd been drinking.
No, just a little loppy with the coconut on your head. You look funny. In fact, never mind. I won't go. My name is Ed Gerton with Seacoast Sales, located in sunny Orange Park, Florida, which is just outside of Jacksonville. We're an equipment supply company that specializes in frozen dessert equipment. So we have ice cream machines from Carpigiani and BGI Industries. We have display cases from ESA, GTI Design, and IFE. We have soft serve machines from Carpigiani. We have mixed treat machines, drink machines from V-Air. You can reach me at 904-334-4489. Anything you need with frozen dessert, we can help you with. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Jeremy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Great presentation, Chris.
Thank you.
Appreciate your partnership with that referral you gave me. Still working it. So Jeremy Carson with Worksite PEO. I'm based in Jacksonville, Florida. My territory is from Daytona over to Gainesville, all the way up to the Panhandle and all of South Georgia, including Jacksonville. So I've got a pretty big territory, but I can take clients from anywhere in the U.S. We're a family-owned PEO, which means we understand what it is to be a small business owner, and we're not trying to get over on you. We're not going to nickel and dime you, and everything's very transparent. That's one of our core philosophies is transparent pricing and communication. Something I want to brag about is I came up with a program for Worksite at a client's request. I had to pitch it basically. We allow a client to pay with their charge card. I don't know if I mentioned this on this group before, but it's not a credit card. It's a charge card like an Amex or a Capital One business card. What that allows them to do is pay their payroll with that card. They pay the credit card company the fee. We don't pay the fee. And they earn rewards on that spend. So $2 million in payroll can mean a lot of money for that company. So not only did we test pilot it with my client, but it was so successful. We're now launching that as a service at our PEO, and we're the only payroll company allowing this to happen. Everyone else wants ACH or reverse wires or wire transfers. We will allow you to pay with your charge card. You obviously have to go through some checks and balances and some tests, but we allow people to do that so they can earn rewards on their payroll spend. Quick little tidbit, basically, I saved them 18 grand up front on pricing right off the bat, and then we allowed them to do their charge card. They're going to net 14,000 in rewards. So they're literally paying nothing for my service because we rolled out this program using them as our guinea pig test pilot. So real proud of that. And I just want you guys to know that's how creative we get with our clients. Being a family-owned small PEO, we're able to do things differently in this space. My phone number is 904-295-5110.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you. And I thought I joined Chris on the beach. You look very comfortable there.
They're in the same place.
Anyhow, so in honor, Chris, I'm still, well, let me introduce myself. So I'm Steve Whitehill. I'm a business broker. I help people buy and sell businesses. And in honor of Chris, as I was saying, I thought I'd find an employment agency for sale. And I have one that is, the company does about $23 million in sales a year. And the owner earns about $3 million on that. And he's asking $14 million. And by the way, this is under contract. I don't know that I would offer $14 million for this, but what the hell? If you can get it, why not? The interesting thing is it's a 10-year-old company, and he's got actually 600 full-time, 400 part-time, and this one I don't believe one manager. You don't control that many people with one guy. I suspect the employees are really all part-time or independent contractors. Because there's just no way to operate a business like this without having managers and supervisors. Anyway, he's pretty consistent in his revenues and earnings. And so from a profitability point, it's a nice company. I want to buy this, I'm not so sure. But there are all sorts of businesses available for sale in all sorts of areas, and this was just one of them. Steve Whitehill, Anchor Business Brokers. We help you buy and sell businesses, and I can be reached at 561-376-7500. My email address is steve@anchorbb.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mel, good morning.
Yeah, good morning and good presentation, Chris. And but I'm really impressed with Steve there. His ability to change that background so quickly to match your background. I guess he's gone. There he is. There he is, the anchor man. And so, at any rate, I guess I've had I did my little presentation a few moments ago about what we're up to. And I look forward to Howard getting together with maybe you and Terry somewhere middle of next week to just discuss opportunities in the future.
Okay,
All
Absolutely.
right.
how do we want to give a phone number where people can reach you?
Sure. Sure. My number is 954-684-6881. And of course, you can order a pie or see all of our products on our website, the Concord Grape Pie Company.com.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And TRN Terry.
Before I go, could Herb go?
Am I allowed? I was late. I feel like I'm getting detention.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, this is a shout out to you, Terry. I started to get some results from your leads.
Yes.
Herb Denmark with Slef Payments, Merchant Services. Been doing this gig for 30 years and can handle all your credit card processing needs. You can reach me at 610-721-2793. Thanks.
That's it.
Short and
it.
sweet.
Terry, let me give you a shout out. I just closed Voila Merci off your list in Indian Shores 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I'm sure there's others. I just have to go back and look, but quick little shout out like Herb did. So thanks for reminding me, Herb.
My pleasure.
You. There's a whole bunch more coming within the next couple of days. So, and a lot in that area. I'm getting a lot of new stuff.
It's Herb Denmark. Okay. He's got you
All
working
right,
on that.
Terry, tell us what you do.
Yeah.
What do I do?
I give
I'm
up.
sure that
Parks cleans.
Cinco de Mayo comes and Howard's office is decorated and everybody's just kind of out of this world in this group. We love all of you. And what I do is provide a monthly lead report that keeps getting larger and larger every month. I've got people now on a weekly basis wanting the sample, which has no emails or phone numbers, and it is much older, but they can see the concept, they can see the format, they can see there's a lot of leads, and you get owners' names, you get phone numbers, you get, most importantly, emails, which are so hard to get sometimes. And don't think that because it says info at, it doesn't go to the owner. Many times, more than 50% of the times, it does. Okay, they just don't put their names in, but I'm getting a lot more with the names, so that's even better. Comes in an Excel spreadsheet, and right now, I think for May, we are up to over 70 brand new leads. So, and that's not the ones that have just opened. That's the under
Do you want to
construction.
lean into the picture so Herb can see him?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, okay. So anyways, anybody wants to ask a question, needs anything, Terry at trnusa.com. Thank you. Have a
You know,
happy day, Mayo. If you drink, don't drive, please.
And I just want to let you know, I got so jealous of the beach that I had to go to outer space.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of me not being in outer space that I changed mine when you changed yours.
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm in outer space.
You usually are, Rick.
I do live in Huntsville, which is the home of NASA.
Yes, yes. And it's wonderful. It's a beautiful town, and we've driven through it. And
the traffic is getting insane. Of course, you know, my idea of traffic up here would be nothing for like driving down Interstate 95, because when you have, what is it, 6 lanes on each side going north and south, guys? I
Yeah,
mean, if
forget
you're, there's
it.
2 lanes, there's 2 lanes going up the Parkway, okay, on both sides. And the sad thing is when there's a wreck on the Parkway, call your spouse. You're gonna be late for dinner, because once you're stuck, you're stuck.
Yep.
But wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, we're all here, all business people. We have to think out of the box. Terry and I were driving home one day from Tennessee, coming down 75, and there was a major accident on the highway. So I told Terry she was driving, I told her to get off the highway and let's take a road that runs parallel to 75. I had no idea what it was, but I had a map and we had GPS, and we
Oh,
followed the road. Much to her chagrin, the road went through the mountains up by Lookout Mountain, and it was dusk, and she was running out of fuel. I'm still hearing the screaming.
And the funny thing was, I told him, I don't want to get off. We don't know where this road goes. It's getting dark. I have half a tank. I don't want to do this. And that would have been the common sense thing to do, would have been to stay in the traffic. At least you could pull over. But no. Mm-mm. So from now on,
It's on my Zoom call.
I thought I'd make a mention, a shout out to Herb over here. Herb, I just want you to know that we put your equipment into play last night at the Boca Green Market, and it worked beautifully compared to an earlier competitor. So I want to thank you for that. And Howard, once again, thanks for the connection here to Herb.
Thank you. Good.
Well,
You're happy.
where is that thing on Monday for Cinco de Mayo? Where is that?
On Monday, where I'm going, you mean? Oh no, I'm sorry, Phil. I'm not understanding your question, Terry.
When you came on, you said that you were going to be with the chefs Monday for an event.
Right, Monday. Yeah, that's at the Bush Brothers Provision Company. They're in Royal Palm Beach Gardens.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
curious.
that's where we'll be. Yeah.
Speaking of events on Monday, the company that I mentioned from the 11 o'clock group that does the ice cream events sent me an email this morning asking me to announce this, that they were going to be at the Mexicana Taco Bar in Wilton Manors celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Evidently, they're having several vendors there, and they're going to be one of them. So that's one of the 275 that they do every year now. Let me give you my bit. My name is Howard Appel. I'm the founder and publisher of Today's Restaurant News, and we started publishing in 1996. And in 2018, we became a digital publication exclusively, and that allowed us to take on some other services that we currently offer. One being email marketing, video email marketing, Terry's restaurant leads reports, and our networking groups, and of course advertising in the newspaper, which appears on the front page of our website, trnusa.com. And if you want to reach us again, it's 561-620-8888. We got a couple of minutes. I just want to mention that my column this month in the May issue, which is posted, is about tariffs and what possible effects they may have. So I want to ask the group for a couple of minutes. Has your business been affected by tariffs yet? And do you anticipate it? And Steve's hand went up immediately. So, okay, Steve.
I am selling a company that sells equipment to med spas. So all the, the fat burning stuff, the tattoo removal, all that kind of equipment is what they sell to med spas. And that business was under contract. And when the tariffs started taking hold, the contract fell apart because my guy is now paying over 200% tariff on the equipment. So he can't sell the equipment for the prices that he was selling it for. So I have to have a call with him and see what we're going to do. But yeah, it can have a significant effect. My thinking is that he may be able to, he's sort of mid-market, that he may be able to get customers from the high-end market because that equipment also is not made domestically typically. And therefore, he should be able to or he might be able to pick up some clients at a different price point than he might otherwise be able to pick up.
Wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't the tariffs that have been placed put on for a 90-day period?
No, they were suspended for a 90 period.
No?
Certain areas were suspended, but China was not.
Right.
But certain areas have, like, I think one was India. There's a couple of Asian countries that were suspended for 90 days. But if majority of products that come into the country are coming in from China, and they're the ones that are getting hit the most. I've actually started seeing prices going up at Walmart just because of the fact of the tariffs. They're usually the low price leader. It's going to affect all areas of the industry. I wish that Ed was still here because I know a lot of his stuff comes in from Italy. And so I don't know if it has affected him very much, but it hasn't hit my industry, and we don't anticipate it to hit the industry. Our concern mainly is not tariffs. It's mainly going to be the concerns that's going around with the government as far as the cutbacks on Medicare and Medicaid. That's what's kind of hurting our industry right now.
Yeah, well, in Ed's case, his company, Carpigiani, they started manufacturing in the States some of their line a couple of years ago. So they're somewhat protected on that.
He just, some of the parts he can't get on the older stuff because those parts are only made in China, so they can't get them. But most of his stuff is here, so
I know in the olden days, there were companies in the United States that used to make their product overseas and have it sent in unfinished so that they could be assembled here or even put into a box here so that they could say it was made in America. I wonder if things like that will happen as well.
They changed the policy, so no, actually, because the Chinese were doing that through Mexico, and my understanding is that that thing has been plugged. That hole has been plugged.
Do you think, Steve, I know that you drive an electric vehicle.
I do.
So just for your question, the reason I asked this is I got a new client that came in yesterday, and his company that he works for, they've laid off about 700 employees nationwide because they build parts for EV cars. And their concern is that with everything that's being built and shipped here to the States and is going to either slow down the EV market or or stale it for a little while. What do you anticipate, being that you've driven an EV car for a little while?
I think that I happen to like the car. I happen to like EV cars. It's not that I am green in that sense. I think myself very green. I didn't buy it because it's theoretically green. I don't think EVs are green at all, in fact. Um, the I think that there isn't going to be this push that there was because a lot of the push to EV cars was based on incentives put out by the government, and that's going away. Um, so I don't think I think there's still going to be a market, but I think it's going to be reduced. Interestingly, to me, and it's you can't always tell what's an EV from what's not an EV. So when I was in Europe just now, I sort of look for these kinds of things because I'm curious, and what I saw was a ton of Teslas, relatively speaking. Other than that, I didn't see very many EV cars, and Europe was supposed to be the place where they're pushing it. And as a matter of fact, I thought the pollution from gasoline-driven cars was much higher in Europe than it is here by gobs. I mean, it was really in certain times really smelly from that. So I think we do a much better job than they do. Um, and all this nonsense about them selling everything, they're going to EV so rapidly. What I didn't notice is, and listen, I'm in cities, and in cities, finding fueling for any vehicles is difficult. But I didn't see. I saw only one or two charging stations. One was interesting because it was a street charger. You sort of pulled up, parked, and you sort of plugged into the sidewalk someplace. Um, but I only saw one place where they had a charging station in a parking lot, kind of thing, like you might see here. Like when I want to go charging, most of the charging stations here are in shopping centers, so that's sort of the equivalent um, of it. So I don't know where it's headed. I think with Trump in office, that's going to change the drive to EVs. Um, not because he's doing anything against it, but because he's not doing anything for it, kind of routine.
I've got a question for the group. AI has become very, very popular, and a lot of my colleagues are with their cell phones are downloading personal assistant AI voicemail. Has anybody used one, experienced one, or have any knowledge of one that they use, or anybody that has used one? Take that as a no.
No,
No,
but if you find out,
I'm sorry, Steve?
I'm interested.
Because I've been looking at one here, and I just, there's so many different ones there, and some are priced by the call, some are priced by the minute, some are free, but it's limited to what it can do. But I was just seeing if anybody had an experience.
Just as an interesting statistic, yesterday I saw someplace, I don't remember the exact source, but Microsoft has said 30% of its code is now written by AI.
And I think Starlink is getting ready to introduce military tanks and certain military equipment as using computers to drive it. And every time I hear it, I just think of Terminator. I just,
You're not wrong.
I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around it.
That's actually a real possibility.
yeah.
All right. Well, we reached the end of the meeting. Rick, you're scheduled for next week's presentation. I'll let you know about the 11 o'clock group. Chris, thank you very much for your presentation. And again, if anybody else wants to do a presentation, let me know. And have a great week. Don't drink too much on Monday. Don't eat too many tacos.
Define too much.
Too many.
We'll see you next week, and let the sauce be with you.